If you're writing third person for your novel and your scenes are feeling flat and distant, this is likely the reason. As the author, you think you're putting your readers into your characters' heads, but in fact, you're only describing the character's actions. I'm going to show you this tiny point of view mistake that quietly breaks immersion, even for the best of writers, and we're going to fix it. What is shallow third person? So, what makes it bad? Let's come up with an example. How about this? Susan felt nervous as she walked into the diner. She noticed people watching her and wondered what they were thinking. What makes this a little bit easier is that you can catch yourself writing certain filter words that usually put you into trouble. So that's words like felt, noticed, heard, saw, thought, realized. Most of the time, they're unnecessary because they're just reporting something the reader already knows. Why this is wrong, the narration tells the reader what Susan feels instead of showing it. But deep third person, what makes it really special is let's change that poor writing into something like this. Why don't we do Susan pushed into the diner? Too quiet. Every head turned. Of course they did. She kept her eyes down. Don't give them the satisfaction. Why this works is that the narration acts like Susan's own thoughts. We feel her tension without being told what to feel. Well, deep third person is using third person grammar, so saying he or she, but the words belong to the character, not the author. So the reader isn't being told about the character. You're not just simply describing the movements and actions. You're using the words to show what they're seeing and feeling, what the character experiences in the moment, in the scene. That's the critical distinction. And if you remove the emotion in the sentence and the meaning disappears, it's wrong. But of course, we haven't labeled any emotion, so that meaning stays. That's why this example is so much better. Words like felt, noticed, wondered, that's going to create distance between the reader and the character. However, if you happen to use those words and it adds additional meaning to the sentence, then you can keep them. A key thing here is word choice must match the character. So deep point of view reflects how this character experiences things. So let's look at these two examples. The room felt like a box closing in. So this shows that emotional pressure. The room felt cozy, safe. This works for a different character, the same room. Now, you have to be very careful here for third person point of view. The narration can only include the point of view of the character that they can easily figure out or notice. So here's an example where we're actually breaking that rule, and we shouldn't. Susan didn't see Mark watching her. So if Susan didn't see Mark, how could you write that in deep third person? So a safer way to do it is you can say his smile didn't reach his eyes. So that will keep the reader within Susan's experience at the moment, and it becomes realistic and it makes sense. Let's do some more live rewrites. Do you have a great idea of how to do this? How about this one? Susan was angry. He wasn't listening. Did he even care? Again, this is shorter, but it still labels the emotion. Let's try another example. So Tom kept talking, didn't pause, didn't look at her. Susan clenched her jaw. Now, this is actually not bad. It's pretty good. The emotion is implied through the action. But here's that deeper third. So let's take it up another level. Fine. If he was done listening, so was she. So this one shows judgment tension without explanation. And that's when you can go very deep into third point of view. One example. So the wrong version is if you do something like this. You're late, he said angrily. So that's very common when you're qualifying he said, she said with an emotion. That's a very clear one that you can change. You're labeling the emotion. So let's change that. So how about this? You're late. His voice snapped like she had done it on purpose. So this shows how the line lands for the point of view of the character without labeling it as angry. You're going to have to be a little careful here. So it's not necessarily more thoughts. It's not nonstop emotion. It's a careful control of distance and what the character experiences through the word choices you're making to express it. Now, the thing about shallow versus deep point of view, it's often that shallow is usually telling and deep immersion is usually showing. We can use that dial example I used in the other video between telling and showing, and we can apply that to shallow and deep third person point of view. Wondering in deep third point of view, do you always have to use italics for thoughts? And a simple answer is no in most cases. For example, if you write something like this, of course this would happen today. It reads naturally as part of narration, and you don't have to hit the reader over the head that it's thoughts. So I would avoid italics as much as possible. Italics really are just for emphasis, not to show internal dialogue or internal thinking. Hopefully these techniques are going to help you stick to deep third person point of view and really have fantastic writing that readers love. Now, if you want to actually show your examples in the comments, I would love to see them, and I'm sure other writers can benefit as well. If you happen to like these videos, click like and subscribe. Happy writing.